Hello YouTube. Obviously this week in Ambridge was a little bit short on laughs, what with a major explosion in the middle of it, but I've done my best and I'm not taking serious injuries lightly. I'm just trying to jolly us all along because, let's face it, my God, it has been a bit of a week for us. On and off the Archers, has it not? So, we began the apocalypse in bed with Tom and Natasha, which personally is the last place in which I would want to spend the end of days, or indeed any days. It was her birthday and the anniversary of their car crash of a wedding. She bought him a beautiful designer watch. He bought her a mug and some socks. Oh, Tom, you are your father's son. She also suggested that they open a joint account and managed to con him into believing it was so they could save together. Give over. It's to make sure she doesn't get a mug and a pair of socks next year. What's yours is mine, Tom. What's mine is mine. And what's your parents' is mine. There was then a hilarious bit of business with the birthday cake, which we'd all seen coming for a week, but which made me feel a little bit anxious, as in these days of heightened hygiene awareness, I'm not sure someone's ring should be anywhere near a cake. Over at Gay Grable's, it was the calm before the storm. Kathy was being a bit tight-lipped and silent, and Emma toasted her muffins on the portable hot plates. Once it got a bit uncomfortable, she got off and marched into the car park, hotly pursued by Tracy, who wanted to talk about Emma's impending divorce. I don't live in a world of want. I live in a world of make-do, and I'm living in limbo, she said. Blimey, she's living in limbo make-do, which sounds like some new sort of exercise class. Anyway, before Emma got any more confused about where she was living, she was rescued by the hotel exploding. Yup, the shit hit the fan, or rather, the workman hit the grill with a petrol can, or someone farted in the nature flame sauna. At that time, no one knew, but what they did know was that gas ovens were not supposed to fly that high, and neither was Linda Snell. The team, fresh from their inert training, courtesy of Kate, clicked into action like a well-oiled grill. Don't go back inside, not even for loo roll, said Tracy. Roy had cut his head, and Tracy bound it with some tit tape she had in her bag. There's nothing in it he uses, Tracy, anyway, I wouldn't worry. Freddie staggered about for a bit in the kitchen with dust in his hair, looking like Stan Laurel, but luckily kept up a running commentary to Linda about what he was doing, otherwise all we'd have heard was 15 minutes of confused bumping noises. Ed suddenly appeared from the boot of Emma's car to check she was okay. Harassment was absolutely nowhere to be seen. He'd heard a massive bang, the walls shook, and a cloud of smoke shot up, but he just thought it was Fallon, using her personal massager upstairs again, so he carried on with his jigsaw. Meanwhile, at Borchester, I'm doing my serious Radio 4 voice, have you noticed? Meanwhile, at Borchester General, Robert was trying to remember his last words from Lindy Bottom. It was all very sad. They turned out to be, "How many times have I asked you to knock before you burst into my shepherd's hut?" In A&E, Freddie was being discharged. "I can't believe the hospital don't want you anymore," said Elizabeth petulantly. "I mean, I don't want you either, but they get paid to care. Don't they realise you have special posh blood? Are your bandages organic?" I don't know where the hell they were, because most hospitals sound like a civil war. I'm not sure how they managed to find a quiet bit where Elizabeth could just trot off and find the nurse who'd been dealing with him. Nurses in A&E travel at about 125 kilometres per hour at a conservative estimate, so by the time Elizabeth caught up with her, she could have been in Belfast. Shula was as welcome in Borchester General as MRSA. She turned up in A&E, and Freddie hurriedly said, "I'm just leaving, actually, Aunt Shula. Quick, Mum, stop the car. So she trotted off to see Robert, only to be rugby tackled to the floor by Jimus. You'd think she'd get the message, wouldn't you? They should use her to shift bed blockers. We'd have the hospitals cleared in no time. More strangeness on the script front. Last week, everyone kept saying, "Mud sticks." Pip said it to Ruth. Ruth said it back to Pip. This week, everyone just kept saying Blake to each other. Freddie just said the word Blake on its own. To himself, apparently. Are they secret messages? Are we passing code to the Kremlin? Meanwhile, every time it happened, everyone at home shouted, "Who the hell is Blake?" As we were all very much hoping it was Gavin who'd grilled himself to death. But sadly, no. Same at Grange Farm. The Grundys were discussing the incident with Oliver. Poor Emma's been getting flashbacks of Linda and Freddie and Blake, apparently. Blake? Yes, Blake. Roy was talking about it with Krusty. It's important to rally round as a team all together, he said. And Robert won't let us rally round him, so we're going to rally round Blake. He doesn't want us to, but he's got a pin in his back, so he can't stop us. What next? I'm trying to remember what happened next. And even more oddness with Bin Day. It was Bin... Did you notice Bin Day? It was Bin Day on Wednesday. That's Bin Day on Wednesday. Have we all got that? Good. By the end of the episode, even Linda knew it was Bin Day, and she was in a medically induced coma. You know the play A Man for All Seasons? Roy Tucker is a man for all the wrong moments. He decided, as stretchers rushed past, ambulances screamed, and people dug through rubble, that now would be the ideal time to talk about the entertainment for Krusty's wedding. How about Tommy Croaked It? Over at Lower Loxley, Freddie was having a delicious lunch of germaline served on a bed of cheesy what's-it crumbs. That was a revolting scene, but what can you expect from a man who gets defeated by bubble wrap? Poor old Ben Archer plodded on with his party arrangements for his birthday, seething quietly as not only is he getting a new wheelbarrow rather than a car, but now Gay Grables has exploded and taken any remaining limelight right off him. Lillian took lunch into Robert and found that Robert has been reading Linda books she hates, which seems cruel and unusual punishment for a woman who cannot leap out of bed and throttle him. But maybe it's revenge for the fact that he has had to sit through the village panto every night in December for the last 30 years. 30 years, can you believe that the Snells have been in Ambridge for 30 years? Maybe her first post-coma words will be, "No, Robert, for the love of God, not the bloody Silmarillion." There was a lot of gossip. Well, there always is after something like this, isn't there? Kathy said the builders might have hit a gas pipe. Well, if Kathy says so, who is going to argue? And Oliver had a heart-to-heart with Tracy. He told her he'd never seen any action in the army. Well, unless you get a move on, Oliver, you'll not be seeing any action in Ambridge either, as Tracy will be entirely in thrall to Roman's candle. You're going to need a lot of support over the next few months, so accept that Roy, for some mysterious reason, has decided to become everyone's father figure, and that you, Oliver, are going to have to settle for being balmy old granddad. But that's fine, because Tracy might settle for balmy old granddad too. And you've got to have something for Linda to get outraged about when she comes round, because she will. She will. The end.
If you enjoyed watching Lucy V. Freeman give you loads of gossip about Ambridge, and I don't know why you would, I'm not a fan of gossip myself, then you can subscribe to this channel by clicking the button. That means you won't miss any more updates on what's going on. And you can also listen to Lucy Royfield and other The Archers listeners on Dumpty Dum, the weekly podcast. Don't tell anyone I said anything though, will you?